to sort of change Washington a little bit in a calm, social way. This guy's going to kick over the table. I want you to give a great Ohio welcome to the next President of the United States, Donald Trump.
When Donald Trump first ran for president, our next guest described Trump to me not as a real estate baron, TV star, or outsider, but as a combination of three American giants: Theodore Roosevelt, P.T. Barnum, and Andrew Jackson. Newt Gingrich was on board back then, still is. He joins me now to discuss his new book, Trump's Triumph, America's Greatest Comeback. Mr. Speaker, great to see you.
Great to be with you.
Why is this a great comeback? Why is it historically resonant in the experience of our country?
Well, two reasons. One, the movement against the Washington establishment began with Goldwater in '64.
Barry Goldwater, yeah.
And in fact, you can still go to YouTube and pull up Reagan's speech, A Time for Choosing, which he gave for Goldwater, and it's as resonant today as it was in 1964. And so you had a gradual, steady growth of people who concluded that the Rooseveltian coalition, the big government bureaucracy, the increasingly left-wing views.
Carried on by Lyndon B. Johnson, Barack Obama.
Johnson expands it. Then you have, in a sense, you have the Obama-Biden final explosion, where it gets sufficiently weird on social values that Democrats now tend to be in about a 15 to 20% position on things like,
cultural issues.
Cultural issues. And then you have the failure of big government. I mean, the bureaucracies are now so old, they're so bureaucratic, they're so process-centered that they can't get anything done. So all these things came together. In a sense, in 16, the man and the message, or the man and the movement, came into the same place.
Trump.
Trump had the basic marketer's understanding that there was a potential to build an echo chamber in the country. And he did it by being very vivid, very direct, using very strong language, and talking at a level that blue-collar workers could understand and could say, yeah, that's right.
I wrote in my book, Mr. Trump's Wild Ride, that at Trump rallies, people felt that they were smarter because he was saying what they believed.
Right.
And that's an uncanny, important thing to do in politics, where your audience comes along with you.
But it's part of why you end up with the never-Trumpers, because what Trump was doing was saying to everybody who was disgusted with academic elites and news media elites, et cetera, they're really wrong and you're really right. Well, everybody he's saying is really wrong got pretty pissed off about it. And I think it also scared him, because he wasn't supposed to be able to do this, And then when he won the first time, beating 16 other Republicans, some of whom were very competent, then beating Hillary, who I think everybody in the establishment assumed would win, then surviving a 4-year assault in which we now know both the FBI and the CIA broke the law trying to destroy him. And he survives 2 efforts to impeach him. There's a rigged election in 2020. He gets 4 years in the wilderness. And in that 4-year period, his base keeps growing, because people look at what the Obama-Biden system has created and they go, this is crazy, which is why he could beat Biden in the spring, pivot, and beat Kamala in the fall. And nobody's ever done this before. And it's because his base didn't move.
Right.
His base was for him against Biden. His base was for him against Harris. And his base keeps growing.
So we're not going to go over the etymology of rigged. I know what you mean by rigged, but that election was not stolen in 2020. I know you have problems with it and the media amplification and high tech, but it wasn't stolen at the ballot box.
It was not stolen on Election Day, but it was rigged for months.
Understood. We'll leave it right there.
We can have that debate someday.
Some other time. I want to ask you about your own role in Republican politics and the coalition that Trump has built with working class Americans, aggrieved by free trade agreements that when I covered you back in the 90s, you were for.
Right.
Not just NAFTA, but permanent normalized trade relations with China. Were you wrong about that then? And how do you look back on that advocacy? Did you misread history, or did things happen that you were not expecting? And how did that figure into the Trump coalition?
Look, I think I misread history. I did a book a couple years ago with Claire Christensen called Trump and China. And in doing it, I went back and did a lot of research on Deng Xiaoping. In the 90s, I believed that Deng Xiaoping had made his great Southern tour and made his speeches where he said we have to have free markets, that I don't care whether it's, you know, a black cat or a white cat. I care if it catches the mouse. And he was saying, don't just be trapped by communism. Well, almost all of us thought this is the great first step towards freeing up China.
And with economic liberty and capitalism, you create the desire for political reforms that protect those things.
And then after Tiananmen, we began to look at it, and I realized when I went back to do this research that I had it exactly backwards. That Deng Xiaoping was one of the 24 people in Paris who created the Chinese Communist Party. They were workers during World War I. Then he goes to Moscow and spends a year at Lenin University studying how to run a Leninist party. He comes back to China. What he's saying to them is, the dictatorship will not survive if people stay poor.
But it can survive if they make wealth.
If we're actually going to get wealthy in order to preserve and strengthen the dictatorship. That's exactly the opposite of what everybody thought, including me.
And NAFTA, which Trump calls the worst trade deal ever.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was the worst trade deal ever because there were some others. But it was a mistake in this sense. I think we thought you would create, in a sense, a common market, which Reagan had advocated. Mm-hmm. So in a sense, Clinton was picking up a Reagan idea. And we thought that the three countries would grow together. And I think what we underestimated was that you would literally have a huge flow of jobs into Mexico, where the income disparity was so enormous that, in fact, you couldn't create a common market because you couldn't stand, unless you wanted Americans to get a lot poorer, you couldn't be competitive head-to-head with the Mexican economy.
Politically, is there more connective tissue between Ross Perot and Donald Trump or Pat Buchanan and Donald Trump?
Well, both in narrow ways. I mean, Perot in the sense that he represented
because he hated NAFTA, it's called a big, giant, sucking sound, all that.
Well, and he represented a kind of very aggressive cut the budget, very aggressive populism. Buchanan represented, in many ways, a reversion to an American conservatism that had been very tough about protecting America and didn't have any kind of blinders about how dangerous the world was. But at the same time, and this is where Trump actually, I think now has some very interesting challenges. Buchanan also represented a belief that you don't send people to Afghanistan for 22 years. You don't send them to Iraq for 20 years. And that and Reagan was very good about this. I mean, people forget the only overt military action that Reagan took was Grenada.
Right,
I mean, he built up a huge military. He was crushing the Soviet Union, but he wasn't getting involved in wars.
Mr. Speaker, I'm going to have you back. We're going to continue this conversation about history, technology, and Trump, I promise. You'll come back.
I hope so.
Very good. Newt Gingrich, pleasure, sir. Thank you.